Welcome back, everyone. This is H&R Locks. I am Splash.
I am Henry.
This is Henry.
That is me.
I had
Yes.
to. My brain
It's
was.
just
I
a
just woke
reverse.
up from a
So
nap.
no, I did it wrong. That is Splash, also known as Ryan, also known as the R of H&R Locks. And
Yes.
actually, no, I disagree. I think I'm the R, you're the H. I think that's how it works.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was
that's
actually
gotta be it.
supposed to shout out to my mom. She was going to name me Harrison, but then she mentioned it to my grandmother. My grandmother shot the idea down. So yeah, family drama.
Yeah.
Thumbs up for that.
How fun.
Yeah,
So,
I know,
Ryan,
right? Tell me about it.
We got a lot of NFL action tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we definitely had NFL action today.
Yeah,
we had
so much so.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did have a game played in Dallas.
Yeah, that was on crack.
We will be discussing that in depth a lot on University tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Beautiful.
So make sure to tune in.
Yeah, I mean, I got on the phone with my mom when the game was like in the middle of the third quarter, and then we talked for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I got off the phone and I got the notification that Oklahoma won. It's like, what? That was not on my radar. That was just flat out not on my radar for happening. So big shout out to Oklahoma there.
Yeah, that was
tough loss for Texas.
Really pulled it out. Shocked.
Yeah, well, you ready to hear a shock for tomorrow?
Let's go for it.
The Chiefs will cover.
I agree.
They don't cover. They don't cover often. They did cover last week. They are, I believe, 5. I think like 5. Like 3-10-0 against the spread in their last 15. Something really stupid. They covered against the Eagles last week. They covered against the Bills in the playoffs last year, and they had like one cover late in the season. Right. But they just can't cover, man. And they're going to cover tomorrow. I'm very confident. Kansas City -3 against Buffalo. Sunday Night Football. Everyone's going to be watching. Bills at Chiefs. Again, Chiefs favored by 3. I'm going to roll with Kansas City. I know Buffalo's riding a high. They've won their last 3 games by at least 20 points. They've won 2 of them by at least 35, and then they beat Houston by 40 last week. So I get it that you're going to hype up the defense. I understand. All of them turned into Prime Ray Lewis because Davis Mills played quarterback. But Patrick Mahomes is very much not Davis Mills. Yeah. So that defense is awesome. But it's against Heineke and a half from Tua, a half from Brissett, and Roethlisberger and Davis Mills. Patrick Mahomes is much better than those quarterbacks. So give me Mahomes, give me the better quarterback, give me the better coach, give me the better weapons. Defense, cool. I think it's going to be a 7-point game. I think this is the kind of game that ends, I don't know, like 35-28. And it's a 1-score game, but it happens to be scores of 7, not like 3, right?
Right.
So I'm rocking and rolling with the Kansas City Chiefs.
I like your lock so much. I'm making it my own. I'm going to go Chiefs -3. Lock it in. Okay. I think that although, yes, the Bills have been dominant. Yes, they destroyed Miami. Yes, they're 4-1.
Yes.
Right? Are they undefeated or 4-1?
3-1.
3-1, right.
Chiefs are 2-2. Bills are 3-1.
They didn't beat Davis Mills by enough, which is they only put up 40 on a Houston Texans team that allowed like 9 total yards of offense. Like,
it was weird.
Not enough. You have to put on at least 70 in that sort of scenario.
Yeah, I think I've talked about it on several shows now that yes, the Bills have a couple blowout wins, but the most impressive game was against Washington, and that was a game that they control. They just flat out control the entire game. Allen looked good. But the issue has been that Allen, I don't want to say has played poorly, but hasn't looked like 2020 Josh Allen. And you say what you will of, he's better than 2019 Josh Allen. And I've been sent to the moon because I thought Josh Allen in 2019 wasn't a good quarterback, and people are retconning it like he was. No, he wasn't. Stop it. I don't care about the record. Mitch Trubisky led a team to a 12-4 record. That doesn't mean he was a top 15 quarterback. So
although he could be, I think he might have been.
He might be better than Josh Allen.
Yeah, I say I will change my lock if Josh Allen decides to sit out and Mitch Trubisky plays. I'll say the Bills cover. But if Josh Allen, no.
I mean, Josh Allen is unbelievable, but he hasn't been as unbelievable this year, if that makes sense. Because these quarterbacks, there's an ebb and flow to it. And I'm a Ravens fan. Lamar Jackson, of course, has these ebbs and flows. He's not perfect every week. I know he wasn't MVP Lamar for a lot of last season, but when it mattered, he was. And Allen, it's not right now. It's not when it matters. Sunday night I think is a big a litmus test game for a team like Buffalo. You want to win the Super Bowl, right? You lost to Kansas City in the AFC title game. Know it's hard to go back. The Bills know as hard as any organization, it's hard to go to multiple Super Bowls in a row because they went to freaking 4 in a row, and I don't think any other team has done that. So they know it's hard to go to 3 straight because they did it, right, 25, 30 years ago. But, Allen needs to play better. As simple as that. Allen has had one 2020 Allen performance. As a whole, the stats look okay because that's just how it works. NFL quarterbacks, especially those as good as Josh Allen, they find the way to make their stats look okay. They may not be playing well, but they're gonna get their way to 250 yards or 300 yards or randomly complete 70% of their passes. Mahomes does this as well as anyone. He got outplayed 3 weeks in a row, and he was on pace for 48 touchdowns. He is on pace to break the NFL record for passing touchdowns, and he's outplayed his opposing quarterback once.
Right.
And he doesn't even need the 17th game to break that, right? That's the funniest thing to me. So
that's crazy.
14 touchdowns in 4 weeks. Whew. I think he adds 4, maybe even I think he adds 4 more tomorrow.
Yeah. I say you're right. I would go as far as to say 1 is on the ground.
Ooh, okay. 3 passing, 1 rushing. All right.
Fantasy performance for the books.
Okay. Speaking of fantasy performances for the books, Derrick Henry has been putting on a show in fantasy. He has over 600 all-purpose yards.
What's he on pace for?
He is on pace for 2,550 all-purpose yards this season. He's on pace for 2,000 rushing yards, and he's even on pace for 500 receiving yards. Love that.
That's 3,100 yards.
Oh, no. Oh. 2,550.
Oh, okay.
He's on pace for 2,000 on the ground, 500 through the air.
That's absurd.
Yeah, that's Christian McCaffrey, Darren Sproles,
Marcus Colston.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I thought we were just naming old Saints right now.
That's C.J. Johnson Chris Johnson. That's what I'm trying to say. Chris Johnson, Christian McCaffrey, even a Sproles kind of year that you bring in the return yardage.
Right.
Brian Mitchell, that sort of deal. So Henry's having an unbelievable season.
He really am.
Soft Jacksonville defense.
Right. Yeah.
And,
I'll kill him.
Yeah, and if there's one part of Jacksonville you don't trust, you haven't trusted in a while, it's the run defense. They have, I would say solid corners, but they just traded their best one away, and C.J. Henderson. But Jacksonville can move the football, and Tennessee is not going to stop them from moving the football. But I think this is another case of Tennessee's going to play a game that's scored in a bunch of 7s. That we all know these games when they happen. The 28-21s, the 35-28s, the 42-28, stuff like that. It happens a lot in the SEC when Alabama plays. I think Tennessee wins. I don't know if they're just going to obliterate Jacksonville, but I think they're going to roll 7, 10, maybe 13 points. Big day for Henry. Maybe put him down to score twice. He only found the end zone once against the Jets last week. So credit to the Jets for that. But, yeah, Henry always kills Jacksonville. He ran for 228 the one year, 200 another year. He always seems to break those long touchdown runs against Jacksonville. So I'm putting my money in Derrick Henry's hands, and he will carry me to the promised land.
It's funny because I always tune into a discussion in football no matter what. I'm never the instigator or the receiver. I show up halfway through the discussions already taking place, and when it revolves around Derrick Henry, they don't use the full name Derrick Henry. So I show up and I see, Henry's a beast. I'm like, yeah, I agree. And then I realize they're talking about the running back. This has happened on multiple occasions.
Okay, that's funny.
I keep forgetting. It's an issue. It's really an issue. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting such high praise. I can't run for 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
I am going to absolutely destroy Jacksonville.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I would do that if I.
Hey, you can imagine how I felt. I lived in Atlanta when Matt Ryan won the MVP. So.
Yeah, there you go.
There we are. There we are. So, Henry, hit me with your number 2 bet of the day.
My number 2 lock. I'm trying to think of a good segue with Derrick Henry, but I can't. I'm playing. I would like to apologize for the entirety of the United Kingdom in advance.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I gotta like conjure it.
Man, I gave you a layup with Matt Ryan.
I know. Oh wait, you're right. It didn't even click. I forgot he was still alive.
Yeah, he was actually pretty good against Washington. I rewatched the game. Like on first watch, like on the red zone watch, he didn't look great, but upon second watch, like he was hitting the deep ball. I know I gave him crap for like a rainbow deep ball, but Cordero Patterson was wide open. So
sure.
Big props to Matt Ryan. 283 yards. That number doesn't mean anything to him at all. And 4 tutties.
All right, so I'm gonna try and do my British accent. It's a little bit awful, but we can power through. Because the Jets play in London. They play the Falcons in London. And I believe that the Jets are hot. They're running off Zach Wilson. Great energy. Great player. Great kid. I think it's turning Australian. I'm sorry, Luke. I think the Jets and Robert Saleh build off this gutsy win against Tennessee that probably should have been a tie, but thank you, Fat Randy Bullock. A draw, exactly. And so they're going to hop out on that pitch in London, and they're going to You know, Ryan, I found that very rude of you. Oh, there we go. Now I got it. Okay. So this is my British accent. This is my new one. This is more posh, the more London-y kind of I don't even know what I'm doing.
We're going to get demonetized.
We might get demonetized stuff to just offensive. Is this British-ish? Is this like racist to Britain?
Imagine what would be the worst like high volume job. I'm thinking like watching YouTube videos that people report, like watching, I don't know, like we did that Hurricane Ida live stream. What if someone went back and reported it and said there was like nudity halfway through?
That would be
and you had to watch it like a 12-hour live stream.
Oh my god!
To find like 3 seconds of whatever time.
I'm sure there's like a time safe thing. Like when you report the video, it like gives you the time frame of where the person like sort of reported it. I'm just going to the British accent the rest of the show. I don't really care anymore, and I'm kind of stuck in it. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm sure there's some fail safes to make that job easier. But I don't know. It would be a tough job.
Interesting. Yeah,
I can't
imagine that'd be fun. Please don't report our videos.
No. Even though my British accent is a crime against humanity.
Yeah. It's getting better. It's getting a little bit better.
Thank you. See, as long as the more I talk in it, the better it sounds.
Yeah. Have you been out of the country?
I have not. I have never been to England. I'm just doing this off of TV media and the Arctic Monkeys.
Okay. Yes.
That's basically
so. As another segue back in the game, the Jets and Falcons are playing in London. No Russell Gage for the Falcons. No Julio Jones for the Falcons. Duh. No Calvin Ridley. And Kyle Pitts is not wearing number 84, so Arthur Smith doesn't know he exists. So
right, yeah. So I believe that the Jets went in with no AJ Brown, no Julio Jones, and really shut down Ryan Tannehill. So I think they can do the same thing with Matt Ryan, who I'd argue he's definitely older than Ryan Tannehill, and he's probably a little bit worse.
Yes,
I think
I would agree with that.
I've also noticed I smack my lips when I do this accent when I finish a sentence.
What's the line on that? Is it?
It's 3 points.
Okay, yeah. So I think I would take that. I would lay some money on the Jets money line this week.
Yeah. I think really you think outright.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would be more like a field goal, last second. Matt Amendola heroics.
Yeah, getting that soccer vibe there, or
football
vibe.
The football.
There. Yeah. So,
Splash. What's your third lock?
Okay, before we go into that, I want to throw this out there that game's at 9:30 a.m. So if you're watching this and there's a quick turnaround,
all right, 12 hours.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the London games? Like when they kick off at 9 a.m.
Well,
they kick off at 9 a.m.
It really depends. I mean, if it's an interesting game, I think that it would be nice to sort of wake up with football. I really like that idea. I like waking up in the Premier League. Sort of like I'll just turn on the television and all of a sudden Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes.
I dropped that just to say it in the accent. I hope you know this. But like just waking up and boom, there's sports. That's magnificent. Absolutely magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop doing this. It hurts.
Yeah, I feel you.
It just hurts my soul.
Yeah, I live on the West Coast, so I would have to wake up at 6:30. I don't know if I'm going to be up for that one.
Right, yeah. I might need you to produce university, so...
Oh boy.
Wait, why am I back in it? I don't have a choice. I've got myself stuck in this accent. Martin,
it happens.
It's like I've been stuck myself in a room, but my voice is the room, and I can't get out of the voice.
Huh. Okay.
It's quite an issue.
I'm going to move on. I'm going to break out of Sunday.
That's a good idea.
Monday Night Football, Indianapolis Colts at Baltimore Ravens. As you might be guessing, I'm a huge Ravens fan. Lamar Jackson for MVP, baby. So I would be putting my money on the Indianapolis Colts +7. Last year when these two teams played in Indianapolis, Baltimore did win by 14, but it was kind of a screwy 14 that there were a couple turnovers, and Chuck Clark had a huge scoop and score. I think that's what it was officially called, and he jumped over Phillip Rivers. So I'm rocking. I think the Ravens win, but I'm rocking with the Colts +7 because they were one of the only teams to stop, to just totally limit the Baltimore rushing attack. In the second half, Baltimore had to lean on Lamar Jackson as a thrower, and he was awesome as a thrower. He didn't miss a pass for what that's worth. Yes. So, and no drops by the receivers. Everything went smoothly, except the running game. The running game was awful. Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, the two most talented backs we've had in the last few years. They had 25 carries for 50 total yards, 55 total yards. It was a hot mess. So I will begrudgingly take the Indianapolis Colts +7. I think they will halt the run game and force Baltimore to throw. And as much as I believe that Lamar has made strides as a passer, this does take the floor out from under the Ravens. This makes it harder to blow teams out, because usually what I've talked about all offseason was other teams in the NFL are not built to stop the Ravens. I'll use the example that I used before week 1. The Raiders are not built to stop the Ravens. Right. The Raiders do not have the run defense. They do not have the personnel to reliably stop Baltimore. Yes. If you play that game 10 times, the Ravens win at least 7 of 10. And heck, if you play the fourth quarter again, the Ravens win that game. Right. And I actually got into an argument with a Raiders fan that, the Raiders are so much better than the Raiders. Or the Raiders are so much better than the Ravens. Okay, why? Because Daniel Carlson made a 55-yard field goal and you won in overtime? Mm-hmm. Okay, congratulations. But then you're going to turn right around and say that, you should have lost to the Lions. Okay. Well, yes, you should have lost to the Ravens, because your entire game hinged on Daniel Carlson making a 55-yard field goal. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, he happened to make it. He missed a 52-yarder 2 weeks later indoors against the Chargers.
Yeah, so that's how the world works.
Yeah, exactly. So teams aren't meant to stop the Ravens. Most teams aren't meant to stop the Ravens. Pittsburgh cares, Cleveland cares, Cincinnati cares. Well, you can throw all of what I just said out the window, because Baltimore's run offense isn't good enough to have me say that, right? Right. It would be like, no team is built to stop Patrick Mahomes. No, teams are built to stop Patrick Mahomes. That's the point. They are built to stop Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and then the teams in their division. They're not built to stop Baltimore. That's why I think Baltimore led the NFL in point differential in 2019 and 2020. They won 25-7, 24-6 with Lamar. They scored 28 points in 29 of 30 Lamar Jackson starts. The offense works, but now I think I just don't trust the running backs.
Sure.
And I trust Indianapolis's defense to kind of stifle the run game and force Lamar to throw. Now, I trust Lamar to make enough throws to win the game, but I'm not saying this is going to be like some elite passing performance. He had an elite passing performance against Denver, and he had an elite passing performance against Detroit. I don't care about your completion percentages. So there we go.
I think I am going to play devil's advocate,
Okay.
I'm going to take Baltimore outright, 7 points, blowout win. Absolutely decimates the Carson Wentz-led Colts, who are really the Carson Cayman Wentz Colts, because this is not going well for them. I don't think they can materialize an offense against the Baltimore front. I think that it's a lopsided affair from the very beginning. I feel like I'm turning into you, trying to
You're good.
Convince yourself the Ravens are going to win, but that's how I see it. I don't have any faith in that Colts team.
I mean, okay, here's one. There's some positives to take away with how Wentz has played. It's kind of that Teddy Bridgewater sort of, he's not making mistakes, which is very weird. As like, if you watched any Eagles games last year, Wentz was just making all the mistakes. So I think there's a sort of you have to kind of ask yourself, is Wentz screwing over the Colts? And I think the answer is yes, but it's in a different way than he usually does. And that comes from he's not really able to push the ball down the field right now. I don't know. That's the weapons in Indianapolis aren't very good, and people overrated them the entire offseason. And when I look at Wentz and you look at the statistical profile and you look at the film and you say he's not doing anything special. Like I've talked before that I will accept your mistakes if you're doing something right. With Drew Lock, to some degree, Lamar Jackson does this, Josh Allen does this, Patrick Mahomes, that, yeah, they're going to probably turn the ball over or put the ball in harm's way more often than you want. But, hey, they're going to match it with, dozens and dozens of these awesome throws. And Carson Wentz is not turning the ball over, which is good, but it comes at he's not really pushing your buttons defensively.
Right.
Like, it's a very conservative Carson Wentz, and I don't think that's helpful for the Colts. And especially against an aggressive defense like Baltimore, that Baltimore will capitalize if you make a mistake. So Wentz doesn't have any turnover-worthy plays. He's one of 3 starters to not have one. Russ, rest in peace, and Brady, which I think the Brady one is kind of BS, but that's beside the point. I think Wentz finally has a turnover-worthy play, and that's going to be like a game-stealing interception or a strip set, something. So I think he has 2 turnover-worthy plays, 1 actual turnover, and the Ravens win in the end.
All right, I like your style. Speaking of Russell Wilson, you think Geno Smith has what it takes?
Oh boy, that's Pittsburgh next week. That's such an ugly Sunday night game. even with Russ, Russ, I could have told you that would be a sucky Sunday night game. Just the way that the Steelers have deteriorated offensively, and the wild thing is the Steelers could very well be 3-3.
Sure.
Yeah, they play Denver this week. I think Denver is like slight favorites, and they play Seattle next week on Sunday Night Football. They could win those games. I think they're I don't want to say a better team than either of them. I haven't seen a full game of Seattle with Geno Smith, so I don't know what to think yet. But I think Denver is better than Pittsburgh, but it's also in Pittsburgh. And I also know that Denver doesn't have good enough quarterback play to sometimes take advantage of that. I still don't know starting whether it's Teddy or Locke. If it's Locke, then Pittsburgh could have 2 or 3 pick sixes, and oh boy, hate to see that.
It's fair.
All right, hit me with your number 3 there, bucko.
All right, we're heading over to the West Coast, your stomping grounds.
Yes,
we got the Trey area, I believe it's called.
Area.
Taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know. I tried to put it together. No. The Kyler Murray Knowles. No.
The Arizona Kyler Murrays.
There we go.
Yeah.
The Arizona Cardinals. Not bad.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
They play football.
Yes. They do.
At 425.
Yes. Or 125.
Or 125.
Yes.
And it's Trey Lance's first start.
Trey area.
So the over-under is down. However, the Cardinals have one of the most high-powered offenses in the league.
Yes, they've scored, I believe, 30 points in every week.
You are correct. 38, 34, 31, 37. That's like a 35-point average.
Yes.
So you just need 14 points out of Trey Lance, and you hit that over. It's 48.5.
I like how I feel about. I like that. I like if you're giving me 35 from Arizona, which I don't know, but yeah, I mean San Francisco's a banged up secondary. I would say that there are some blowouts that just kind of don't get to 48. Think Buffalo, Houston. That Buffalo, if Houston had any sort of offense, it hits 48 easily.
Yeah, right.
But it was just such a catastrophe and so one-sided that it just didn't work. So you can run into that because Arizona is good defensively. Rookie quarterback Trey Lance hasn't played particularly well, and it's strange because I know statistically he looks okay. You know, he had the rushing touchdown against Green Bay, he has a couple passing touchdowns, but those aren't difficult throws. And this is what I think Niners fans kind of loop themselves into, is that Trey Lance has a couple of these highlight reel plays, but that overshadows the entire game. So someone like PFF that watches all of the plays and grades them, I don't want to say equally, but having one nice throw doesn't offset an entire game of missing throws, right?
Right.
One dropped pass by a receiver doesn't overshadow all 50 plays that Lance throws it to a defensive back. But I think when you analyze, especially a rookie quarterback, you need to watch the entire game. Sure. And it's cool, like Zach Wilson, it's cool that he had that throw to Corey Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the entire game.
Watch the first half, I must say. He was pretty good. He was like 19 of 22 in the second half.
Yes, I would just say watch the entire game. And there's nothing wrong with watching the entire game and getting like a new perspective on these guys. You know,
absolutely.
Whether it's through Game Pass or even if you watch highlights or you read about it. And I think I encourage all of our listeners, all of our watchers, viewers, whatever I want to call you, that try to digest as much football media as you can,
right?
You know, and learn more about the game because it could be the difference. You can find a new favorite player just watching the film. You know, I was watching Carolina Houston, and I had this observation of, Houston's like actually doing some things against this offensive front. And I don't know if it's just because it's Carolina and Carolina doesn't have a very good interior offensive line, or if it's actually Houston guys doing well. And then you like check other people, and it's like Houston's defensive front is like performing better than you think they were. It's like, okay, like you're learning when you watch. So absolutely. So was it 48.5?
48.5.
Ooh. I mean, I think that's fine. If you get like a 31-20 game, I will caution you, no Kittle. No Kittle probably helps you there because it brought the number down. Lance with Shanahan,
they're gonna fight till the end, even if they're down 30. You know, they're because it's a rookie quarterback. He's got to develop. They're going 100% the full game. They're not giving up. So that's why I think it's plausible. I mean, 35 points average a game. That's absurd. And I see no reason why it shouldn't continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with San Francisco, you do have Bosa and you do have Eric Armstead and you do have Fred Warner and you have a talented front seven, but that secondary has been injured, like just getting destroyed with injuries. And offensively, I'm glad you're not betting the line here. I don't know what the line is off the top of my head. Maybe 5.5?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Okay, because it's in Santa Clara, right? Yeah, so 5.5. I might that might be a fun one to just pound Arizona on, because they're rolling. Kyler has been unreal, and I think last week I touched on it on the Sports Desk show, but Kyler, I think last week really hit that. You can now call him an elite quarterback. You can now say he's in the same category as, I'm not saying he's better than these guys, but he's at least in the same category as these guys, the Mahomes, Rodgers, Russ, Dak, Brady, Lamar of the world. Allen, he's taken a step back this year, but I think he's in that top echelon of quarterbacks still. And then who's my number 8 quarterback? Brady. Oh, I guess Brady would be 7. Okay, yeah. So I think there's like 8 quarterbacks in the NFL that I think are on that like elite tier. And if you any given week, they can be like any order 1 through 8. but over the course of any long stretch, they're going to be the top 8 quarterbacks or 8 of the top 10, something like that.
Right.
Because weird things happen. Like Baker Mayfield was the best quarterback in the NFL for 10 weeks.
Right.
It happened.
Before that happened.
Weird. Yeah. Or Sam Darnold lit the league on fire for 3 weeks. He really had 4 touchdowns last week, and
that's
it just
absurd.
Feels so weird.
No, I don't like that.
Like that's just Darnold didn't even play well. It's really it's the kind of it's like Mahomes' performance. Like I mentioned earlier, that he has 350 yards, or Darnold had 300 yards, 2 passing, 2 rushing touchdowns, and you just felt like he's not doing anything. And then you look at the end of the game, it's like, he did hit DJ Moore on a couple touchdowns to make it an 8-point game rather than a 22-point game. Okay, but you're just I don't know. What do you thinking about Darnold? Because I know you had to watch him as a fan of the New York Jets for several years. What have you seen out of Darnold that's like different now than it was when he was with New York?
Sam Darnold's a running back now.
Good point.
He wasn't before. And I think that's the main reason. I think what they're doing really is that they're just they're doing their best to mask the issues that he had in New York. They're still there. But Matt Rule is savvy enough, Joe Brady is savvy enough that they can highlight the strengths while undermining the weaknesses.
I think that's fair. And I think it's like, I don't hate Darnold. I know I had him at 32 to start the year at my quarterback rankings. And I know Panthers fans came at me and said, he's not that bad. He's not going to be that bad. Okay. There's a difference to me, there's a huge difference between what they will do and what they're currently doing. Right. From the 3 years of Jets Darnold, he was making bad throws. He was turning the ball over a lot. He was just stupid decisions, some fumbles. Just I know there were good flashes. I know. I watched a lot. I watched way too much Sam Darnold for not being a Jets fan. And I think you kind of run into that. Carolina has kind of raised his elevator a little bit. He's still going to have some of those really stupid plays, and he's still going to turn the ball over, and he's still going to have questionable pocket awareness. But now you have DJ Moore, right? So there's like a statistical floor he's going to operate at. With the Jets, he could have a game that he ends with fewer than 100 passing yards.
Right.
No passing touchdowns, several interceptions, a pass rating under 30. I don't think Carolina's just going to let him do that.
No.
They're going to have I don't want to say so much easy stuff, but they're going to have manageable stuff. And this is why I think this is why like passing yards to me can be like a bogus stat, because sometimes it depends on who your coach is, right? And how often they put you in easy situations. So I'll use Lamar Jackson as an example. He leads the NFL in intended air yards per pass. He's like 11.6. The Ravens as a whole are like 11.6. The Packers are second at 9.8. Lamar he's not leaving any meat on the bone, but that comes at the cost of completion percentage, right? So if you just look at the stats and say, oh, well, he was 16 to 31 against Detroit, that's not very good. Watch the throws and see that he's being asked to push the ball 30 yards down the field routinely, and he's being asked to do something very difficult, while say Baker Mayfield early in the season was asked to make easier throws to Odell wasn't back yet, but Landry and Hunt and the tight ends and Felton and guys like that. And you get like some context. I'm not saying Baker is worse than Lamar, but I'm just saying that you need context for these stats. And I know Darnold had 4 touchdowns, and I know Panthers fans are amped up to be 3-1. And I just understand some of the production is because DJ Moore is really, 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 really freaking good at football.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Oh, man, he is awesome.
Yes. I don't dislike Sam Darnold as a person. I think he's a great guy. But I wish him nothing but failure on the football field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I go that far. I like watching good football, but Carolina.
Yeah, you know what? I hope he goes 5-12 every season for the rest of his career, even though he puts up good numbers and people say, oh, he should get the bag and everyone gets money. I hope he has no success. I hope he has good stats, maybe sure, but no success. Not a single playoff berth.
They have a really easy schedule.
They do.
Yeah, it is jarring how many wins they should have. And this isn't even like just like me having them 17th in my power rankings right now. they should win. They should be like 11-6.
Right. And I hate that, and I will cry myself to sleep.
And that's going to steal it. That might steal a playoff spot from San Francisco or
I think you're right.
Rams and Arizona. And that's kind of scary to think that. I think the same thing happened to Miami last year, that they go 10-6 and they were about to steal a playoff spot from Indianapolis, but Miami folded the last week of the season to laid an egg against Buffalo. And you're just thinking, like, Carolina has done a lot to me. Mm-hmm. They've improved a lot to me. They have proven me wrong at a lot of turns. I thought they wouldn't be very good defensively. I didn't trust their personnel yet. I think I tried to preface as often as I could. It's a yet thing for me with Carolina. They have good pieces. I just haven't seen it yet. And they played really well weeks 1 through 3, but you have to ask the question, okay, they were playing Houston, they were playing the New York Jets, and they were playing Jameis Winston, who has never had success in Carolina or in Charlotte. Yes. So you have those two together. And then week 4, they get killed by Dallas. I know the final score was just 36-28. I get it. But you have 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. It was really a 22-point game masquerading as a one-score game at the end. And it really aggravates me when people just say the final score. Because if I do that and I could say, hey, remember Lamar Jackson's playoff debut that he sucked for 3 quarters? Mm-hmm. The Chargers won that game by 6 points. It was a close game. The Ravens fought really well. Lamar played great. Total BS. Just total BS, man. They sucked for 3 quarters, and then they scored 2 garbage time touchdowns. But, hey, they had a chance to win the game. Yes, they did have a chance to win the game. They had the ball at midfield, and Lamar got strip sacked by Melvin Ingram again. Right. So, Dallas thoroughly outplayed Carolina, and Kellen Moore coached circles around Phil Snow. Sure. That game was ugly to watch from like a mathematical standpoint. That was an ugly game to watch because Carolina simply forgot that Jeremy Chin is not a defensive lineman. Sure. And Shaq Thompson is not a defensive lineman. They were trying to play. I think Brett Coleman has a wonderful video on this. If you don't have Game Pass and you can't watch the game itself, if you go back, there were 10 runs in that game that Ezekiel Elliott and co. The Cowboys were running 12 personnel, so 1 running back, 2 tight ends. So they have 7 blocker types. The Panthers run out with 6, 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers. No matter how good they are at stopping the run, Morgan Fox is a great run defender. There's a lot of good run defenders in that box. It's still 7-on-6. Sure. You're still getting a double team somewhere. You're still getting cutback lanes, and you need. I forget what Brett called it, but you need a superhuman play from someone. You need an Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt. You need them to blow up the play, or else it's a 15-yard run. And that's what tended to happen. They averaged 10 yards a carry on 10 runs. And that's an NFL defense that has allowed 135 rushing yards in 3 weeks. Zeke went for 143, his most yards in 35 months. So Carolina plays Philadelphia this week. This is another one that Carolina should win, and I don't want to bet on it. I actually might bet on that. That might be a sneaky fourth lock for me.
Go for it. I like your style.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's H&R Locks. We gotta make some money.
Yeah, I don't remember what the line is, but is it 4.5? It might be 4.5.
I think so.
If it's 4.5, I would probably roll with Carolina. I don't know how much better of a quarterback Darnold or Hurts is over the other, but I do think Carolina is better coached, and I do think Carolina has had much fewer injuries, and especially in the trenches, right? So, Brandon Graham is out. Brandon Brooks is out. Lane Johnson didn't play last week. I don't know if he's healthy. Jordan Mailata is out. Philadelphia has so many of these, ticky-tack injuries at key positions that Carolina might be able to run that 4-2 defense and stop the run. Sure. Because Philly might resort to more spread out looks. So who knows? I actually interviewed a former high school linebacker, and he told me that he liked defending the run against the spread offense because he wasn't getting picked off by tight ends. Right. He was just having to shed blocks from wide receivers and that's easy to do. Not linebackers or not offensive linemen. So yeah, that's certainly an interesting certainly a interesting way of approaching it.
I see in the left-hand corner that we have viewers. We have people watching us, and yes. I didn't realize this. I thought I was just talking to myself for the past 40 minutes. I didn't even know Splash was here. I was just I thought I made him up. I thought he was a creature in my head.
It happens.
But he's here. He's right there.
Yes.
And so if you're enjoying the stream, people who are actually here and not members of my imagination, please drop a like. I don't know why I'm speaking in the tone of a haunted ghost, but it's spooky season. Yes. So give us a like. Give us the like. Just do it. Drop that. There's a little thumbs up button. You're going to go push it. Listen to that. Give us a subscription. Yeah. Listen to me. Okay.
And ring-a-ding-ding that Le'Veon bell.
I will bring out the British accent again if you don't like the stream right now. All right. I'm warning you.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel too. We're growing. Yes. I had a Lamar Jackson video go. I mean, I don't know what our criteria is for viral, but it's our number 2 viewed video ever.
That's pretty viral. I'd say it's like
viral for us. Relatively
on the COVID scale.
Yeah. Oof. So make sure you like the stream.
We should just rate our videos in terms of diseases.
Yeah. So actually, I'm in a black.
If our clip gets. Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's our last assignment was on. When does a pandemic actually end? And there's kind of 2 ends to it. There's a social end that people just stop caring about it.
So that happened July.
Yeah. So like you say, like the flu is always here, but no one.
But after 1919, no one. You just get a shot every year and you're done with it.
Yeah, no one cares. Right. With COVID, people still care, but they care less. So at some point, it's gonna socially stop being called a pandemic, and you're going to have that closed parentheses 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic, 2020 to something, right? Eventually that's going to have a end. But epidemiologically speaking, that's a long word.
That's a big word.
Yeah. Epidemiologically
Proud of you. Look at that.
It's going to go from what's called a pandemic stage, which is now, to an epidemic stage, which means it goes to more like localized, right? So it's not spreading across the country or spreading across the globe. It's more like there's pockets that have it. Sure. And then at some point it's going to be an endemic disease. And this is what the Black Plague is right now. That I've been doing some research, and there's 10 to 12 people a year that still get the bubonic plague.
Right.
Yeah. There's 1 year, actually there's only been 1 year since 2000 that there's been more NBA general or more plague victims than NBA general managers. So it's 10 a year. I don't know where Henry went, but like 10 plague victims a year, sometimes more, sometimes less. So I have no idea what happened to Henry. Jeff Castro. I'm a Jets fan, so I support this channel. Plus, y'all helped me win a little last week.
Fetty? Slang for Fetty. Slang for money. Fetty is slang for money.
Okay.
Like the trap queen guy?
Oh, yeah. 1738, that guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Appreciate your support. Yeah, I'm not hip to the lingo. I'm
surprised I knew
20-year-old.
Yeah. I accidentally hit quit on my computer instead of close tab. So that's why I just dropped that. The Q is so close to W, and I have fat thumbs.
It happens. It happens.
But I appreciate you, Hefe. It's got some money.
There we go. Beautiful. Okay, anything you want to touch on before we wrap it up? Do you have a food talk?
Yes, I do.
Do you like
what? Okay. I do. I have a question. I prepared it.
Okay. Do you like? First off, do you like sushi? Because I have some in my dorm, and I'm about to.
Depends on the type of sushi. If it's good sushi, then yes. If not,
shout out to Philadelphia rolls.
Yes. I was inspired by you. I got Philly rolls last time I had sushi, and I was not disappointed. It did not disappoint.
Okay, good.
So love to hear that. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah.
I like sushi when it's not overloadingly fish. I also cannot stand tuna.
Okay. See, but I've had this conversation.
I like a yellowtail. I like a salmon.
I love
any
salmon.
Food, any makis, like the fudomaki. That's my jam. California rolls are always a good standby.
Okay.
Who did y'all like between Green Bay and Cincy? Sorry. No, good. I'm gonna pull up the line right now.
It's Green Bay by 3 at Cincinnati.
Ooh.
So There are some like little things that line wasn't accounting for. I don't know. There's no Jair Alexander. So that means Green Bay's secondary is compromised because Kevin King probably will have to play. Sure. And this is, I think Green Bay wins. I think Green Bay covers. But I will say that Cincinnati is one of the trouble spots for Aaron Rodgers, and he has never won in Cincinnati. He's 0-1. Now, granted, that's you only play there once every 8 years, but he's 1-2 against Cincinnati all time. One of his 3 pick sixes came against Cincinnati. That was the last time he played in 2017.
Right.
Shout out to William Jackson. William Jackson was unreal in 2017. But I think Green Bay wins. And this is me trusting the quarterback. This is me trusting the coach in LaFleur over Zach Taylor. This is me trusting the front seven, even without Zadarius Smith. And and this is also me trusting the Green Bay offensive line that without Bakhtiari, without Jenkins, without Corey Linsley is now a Charger, it's been playing pretty well. Like Josh Myers has been a legit NFL player. They had a third string tackle come in and play like a Pro Bowler last week. I don't know. Green Bay just does this. It's like Baltimore with edge rush or Baltimore and Pittsburgh with edge rushers. It just happens.
Right.
Do you know who the best run defender in the NFL this season has been?
I don't know, Myles Garrett.
No, it's Cam Hayward.
It's a good guess.
Which makes sense. Yes, but number 2 is Chris Wormley, who was drafted by the Ravens and then traded to the Steelers. So need I say more there that Baltimore and Pittsburgh just kind of just these guys just appear there. So I will lean Green Bay. I think line play matters. I think quarterback play matters, and I think coaching matters. And Green Bay gives me the advantage in all 3.
I completely agree with you. This is the game I don't touch. I don't like that idea of this game. I think it all boils down to coaching. Mike LaFleur is spades, leagues, centuries, eons.
I always screw it up because we do the Jets show every Wednesday. I think it's Mike is the Jets OC.
Mike LaFleur is the offensive coordinator. Matt, did I call him Mike?
Yeah, you said Mike.
Oh, sorry. Matt LaFleur.
It's getting late. I understand.
Is league, spades, eon, centuries better than Zach Taylor is? And I think that's the difference there. Even though they have a mangled secondary, and even though they have to involve Kevin King, you're just going to try to put Jamar Chase on what's his face? You just put Jamar Chase on Eric Stokes, and you keep Kevin King away from T. Higgins at all costs. So, I think
Sullivan's back there. That's an ugly.
Ew. So I don't touch this game. I think I don't like it.
I have a thing that I bet like 50 cents on every game everywhere. 50 cents on all games every week. But this is one that I don't really want to part with that 50 cents.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
So it's weird. I get it, but I don't know. I would lean Green Bay. Coaching, offensive line, quarterback, or trenches more so. But
yes,
I think
now I'm going to address this comment.
Yeah.
Yes. I would like to specify. Well, actually, I have a story time. It's not a very good story, but it happened to me.
I do want to point out I don't like tuna fish sandwiches, but I do like tuna. Like if you give me like was it Star Kiss, like in the little sleeve?
Yeah.
Like I'm down for that. I don't know how much. Like I'm not going to order a tuna fish salad.
When I was 6, I had just moved into my new house. I still live in it. I've been there 10 years, and my grandmother came from Kansas to visit. She made this big old bowl of tuna fish salad, and
set the scene. How much is 6-year-old Henry eating like tuna fish at this point?
I don't think much. Okay. I think this may be the first experience.
Okay, throw it back to this question.
Yes, I believe this was maybe like the second time I've ever had tuna, because I was an adventurous eater. Like I was eating Chinese food at age 3. So
okay, I was a little slower to join you there.
Yes. So we make this big bowl, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna try this," and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is so good! I'm gonna keep eating it because I'm 6 years old and I love eating food, and I'm so energized, I'm full of energy. I'm 6 years old." So I eat it. And I christened my kitchen floor with a lot of vomit and tuna fish.
Ew.
So I didn't touch tuna fish for 10 years. During the pandemic, I went out to lunch with my grandmother, and she got a tuna fish sandwich, and she forced me to have a bite, and I still liked it. So it was fine.
Too.
Yes, and it was fine. I mean, it's interesting. I prefer whitefish salad.
As we've discussed.
Yes. Yeah. So I will eat raw tuna, but it just it's the texture of it is too slimy to me. I'm just not a fan when it comes to it.
Okay. Yeah. Tuna's fine to me. I do like salmon. Have you ever had basa?
Basa? No, I haven't. I think the most adventurous fish I've ever had was hake.
Cake?
Hake. Hake.
Oh, okay. I was going to say cake. What is a cake fish?
Well, it's when you pick a cake in the shape of a fish.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Well, I was going to say I had a basa. We have a buffet place on campus, and I've had several pieces of basa. It's like a white fish, and I didn't expect to like it, but I really like how they prepare it. It's like Indian inspired, like sesame. Really? Yeah, I really like it. I've never been a whitefish kind of person. It's just I'm really rocking and rolling with it. I do have my own food story. I remember my grandparents came down for like something, and my mom got sick Sunday. I got sick Monday. My dad and grandmother got sick Tuesday, and then my grandfather was sitting there Wednesday, just like annoyed at all of us for being sick. But I had a really bad experience with macaroni and cheese.
Really?
Which, granted, it's macaroni and frickin' cheese. That's not going to stop me from eating macaroni. But I will say that the University of Arizona has really crappy mac and cheese. They have good, they have like good sushi. They have good burgers. They have good, lovely burritos. Shout out to Highland Market.
Really good mac and cheese is Costco.
Ooh, I need.
They have this prepackaged, refrigerated, pre-made mac and cheese. You got to pop it in the oven.
I want mac and cheese.
So good. Mac and cheese is so good.
What's your thoughts on lasagna?
Lasagna. There's an old SNL skit with James Franco, and so he's a lawyer, and he's trying to prove the defendant is guilty because he says he was getting some sa, which is slang for pizza in his eyes.
Yeah,
but so he says pizza za, like lasagna za, zanya. It just keeps going on about lasagna being za, and so. Oh, it's great. I recommend watching it. And so every time I hear lasagna, I think of that sketch. And it's very, very entertaining. I love lasagna. I prefer, instead of meat, I swap out for eggplant.
Ooh. So eggplant.
What's your thoughts on eggplant?
It needs to be prepared well.
Very, very true.
Like it needs
too chewy.
Yeah, my mom's made eggplant parm before. And with all due respect to my mom, I don't think she used enough salt. There was some critical error. Everything was good, but there was one critical error that screwed up the eggplant.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, this is fine, but it's to me it's like oatmeal raisin cookies. That oatmeal raisin cookies as a whole are fine, but if you go into it thinking you're about to eat a chocolate chip cookie, that's when you can throw them away.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So, like, if I'm going into eating lasagna or going into eating any meat dish, and it ends up being eggplant, we have a problem. If you tell me it's eggplant beforehand, I'll probably be cool with it. I'll ask you why you're serving eggplant, but whatever. So, I will say that. And I do need the Jets to win. I did a Rams and Jets parlay. So it's like plus 300, something like that. I do need the Jets to win tomorrow. So hopefully when I wake up tomorrow, I guess when I wake up tomorrow, it'll be for frick. I have to wake up early. No, I hate living on the West Coast.
Do you want to do me a favor and wake up a little bit extra early and produce University for me?
I might have to do that.
Oh, great.
Oof. Okay.
I'll send you all the files.
Okay, this is bribery, so
this might be.
Okay,
might be.
Anyways,
all right. Anyways,
did you ask your question?
No, I didn't. We gotta just talk 20 minutes before I ask my question.
Okay.
What in your eyes because the Jets are playing in London, because London's calling you.
I've
That's
actually been to
typical
London.
English. Have you ever had an English breakfast? And if so, what would you put in it?
Oh, yes. It's any kind of European breakfast. I've had specifically Icelandic breakfasts and English British breakfasts. So very heavy on the deli meat, whether it's ham, turkey, sausage. Sausage isn't like a deli meat, but very meat heavy, very egg heavy, very also yogurt heavy. When I was in Iceland, the yogurt is called skyr.
Skyr, like sky with an R.
Yeah, it was delightful, and I had my best yogurt ever. We were at this hotel in London, and funny story about that. I'll circle back around to it. So we had this yogurt, and it's like freshly made, and you just put a little bit of honey in it, and it just, oh Lord, have mercy on my soul.
That sounds incredible.
It was delightful. But the funny story, we were in a hotel that was like across the street from one that was on fire. And I said, don't worry about it, guys. I just dropped my mixtape. Don't worry about it. People died in that. And I got some side eyes from my teacher for the rest of the trip. It's like, okay,
So I agree with you, Hefe. I think that Jets are going to go 4-1 in their next 5 games, including Tennessee. They can beat the Bengals, they can beat the Colts, and they can beat the Falcons. New England is a little toss-up.
Yeah,
They could go on a 5. I'm not saying the Jets aren't going to go on a 5-game win streak. I'm not saying the Jets are going to go on a 5-game win streak. And if the Jets win against Atlanta tomorrow in resounding fashion, I'm going to say the Jets are going to go on a 5-game win streak.
Man, I don't think they beat New England. I know New England hasn't been playing particularly well, but I do want to throw it out there that week 1 they probably should have beaten Miami.
Right.
Like, I think they were the better team. They just had some bad turnover luck. Then week 2 they beat the Jets. Week 3 they lose by 2 scores to New Orleans, but. Don't think about it like 2 scores. Think about it that Jonnu Smith gifted New Orleans a touchdown. Right. So that was really a 21-13 game masquerading as a 28-13 game.
Sure.
And then last week, there's like, I talked about this on the main show. I guess Sports Desk is the main show because we're not doing timeout anymore.
Right. Coming soon.
Okay. Yeah.
We do have news on that. I think we're going to do it monthly, and then we're going to go live, and there are massive news breaks.
Okay, so here's week 4, Bucks Pats, 4th and 3 from the New England 39-yard line. You're in Foxborough, outside, 11:30 at night. It's raining.
Right.
Nick Folk has an injured plant leg. Bill Belichick, why on God's green earth are you kicking a field goal there? It's 3rd and 3. This is perfect opportunity. You have 2 passes. One of them gets you 4 yards, and you move the chains. This is one of the most cowardly decisions I have seen in a long time. And this is nothing against Nick Folk. This is nothing against kickers in general.
Right.
But if he makes the field goal, you're giving the ball back to Tom Brady with 50 seconds left. Everyone in that stadium knows how that game goes. Everyone in that stadium, everyone in the state of Massachusetts knows how that game goes. Tom Brady gets the ball, he's going to go down and score. And you know darn well that Ryan Suckup is making that field goal. It's that voodoo magic. It's that Brady magic.
Right.
So I thought it was cowardly. I thought if any other head coach made that decision, I think it's a fireable offense. Belichick gets the benefit of the doubt. Not even the benefit of the doubt, just enough slack in his chain that if John Harbaugh makes that call, I'm calling for his head the next day.
Right.
If Tomlin and maybe not Andy Reid, Reid and Belichick are kind of on lifelong contracts at this point.
Right.
But every other coach, I'm saying that's a fireable offense.
Yeah.
This is John Harbaugh with Justin Tucker, a guy that made from 66 the week before. I was so vehemently against this decision to kick the field goal. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was you're not even playing the odds there. That's just football. Come on. Look, I know it's because he doesn't trust Mac Jones, but it's 4 yards. If you don't get you miss the field goal anyways. But if you don't get those 4 yards, you lost the game. If you do get those 4 yards, guess what? You are increasing your likelihood of winning by a lot. There's a 50-50 chance he throws a complete pass. Just say a 50-50 chance that he hits Smith or Henry or Aguilar or Jacoby Myers or a running back, whomever, or an offensive lineman, because New England's done that before. Whoever. I get that he doesn't trust Jones. I get that McDaniels doesn't trust Jones. But I thought it was cowardly not to trust Jones. That's a play that Jones had played so well for the first 56 minutes, and then he had the dumbest throw of the week. I watched every game. I watched every throw, several hundred pass attempts. Mac Jones had the single worst. Just cross his body back to a linebacker. It's like, what are you doing, Mac? What are you doing? You don't. It just frustrates me. But that game was annoying. We should have beat them the first time Zach made really bad throws and we had 2 bounce off receivers' hands. I think we could beat them easily. Okay. Keep in mind that game was in East Rutherford. Yeah. Optimism is one thing. Being on crack is another. That game was in East Rutherford. In East Rutherford. I'm not saying that Zach Wilson's going to be worse. I don't think he will be. I didn't think he was honestly that bad against the Patriots.
Oh, he was. He was.
No, he had a couple unlucky interceptions. He had 2 terrible.
The third one was just ugh.
Yeah, the third and the fourth one were just bad.
2 interceptions that were Corey Davis's fault.
Yeah, the first two was I'm not really blaming Zach. I thought, oddly enough, I would have if I had my splash grades, I would have thought he had a better game than Lawrence did that week. Yeah, and he had 4 picks. So I get the optimism and I can respect the optimism, but I don't think the Jets have shown me that they've been able to move the ball consistently enough that I know they scored 24? Or 27? 27 against New York?
27.
27. Yeah, 27 against
24.
Titans. Yeah. I get that, but I don't I trust Belichick more than I trust Robert Saleh at this point.
Right.
So
all right. So if they blow out Atlanta tomorrow, what's your thoughts?
It depends on what New England does. Again, they play Houston.
That's fair.
They're without a couple of their offensive linemen. Actually, I think they're without their entire offensive line besides David Andrews. Oh, speaking of, I heard a Dave Matthews Band reference during the week.
Did you really?
Yeah, I forget what it was for, but I heard a Dave Matthews Band reference. Maybe it was in. Have you watched Dead Meat before?
Yeah, they're the ones that do the horror movies. They count up.
Yeah, the kill counts. Right? Yeah, I want to say he referenced Dave Matthews Band at some point. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So let's be honest. Without Brady, what exactly has Belichick done? They went 11-5 that year. They had a weak schedule. They would. Yeah. So 2008 is weird because you need to. It's in the context of 2007 is the greatest team ever assembled. That is as good of a football team as you can possibly have assembled. You have a quarterback at the peak of his power. Well, quarterback at the peak of his powers until the Bruce Arians, Tom Brady. But just the things that Brady was doing in 2007, I love Mad Bomber Brady. I love Brady with Tampa. Give me that Mad Bomber. Give me intelligent Mad Bomber quarterbacks, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it's 2021 Lamar Jackson.
You call Justin Herbert a Mad Bomber?
Yeah, Herbert's a lot of fun. Yeah. Josh Allen from time to time. So I get it. But at the end of the day, that was kind of unfortunate that they went 11-5 and missed the playoffs. But yeah, I do understand that he's only made the playoffs once without Brady. But keep in mind that he didn't take over a great team in Cleveland. And New England had been, outside of the 1 year they went to the Super Bowl in 96, had been a train wreck of an organization for decades. He has not been dealt good hands here.
The only thing they had going for them was their cool uniforms. That was it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The
Patriots on the shield. So cool, dude. Cool. So cool.
Yeah. So I understand and I get that, but this is a team that did go 7-9 last year with a total lack of defensive talent. And I know they're 1-3, but don't think of it as 1-3 because they really are a 2-2 team because they've had two really screwy losses, week 1 and week 4. I don't want to. Week 3, we're not changing. I just think it was a lot closer than 28-13. Again, like there's games that end in these stupid scores, but oh well.
All right.
Before we go, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to pull up a chart for you real quick, and I want to show you
multimedia splash. Let's do it.
Multimedia splash. So you're a baseball guy to some degree.
I am to some extent.
So tell me about Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger, he hits home runs well, and he did that thing with the fan that kind of like streaked onto the field for him. Didn't he like bail her out of jail or something?
I have no idea. I'm not familiar with
there might have been something like that. I don't know. I could be talking out my ass.
I want to show you a graph that I made.
Okay.
It's graphing every MVP's production since 2000. So Barry Bonds, all 22 of his seasons. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
I need the graph to load.
I see it. Freddie Freeman won 7 MVPs?
No. Freddie Freeman just has 1 MVP. It's just all of the seasons by each MVP.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Splash, that is a lot of bubbles.
Yes, it is. There's 400 of them.
Oh my Lord.
So yeah, I not ranked, but I have all of the MVPs since 2000.
Of all time?
No, it's just since 2000, right? So the last one is 2000 Jason Giambi.
Right.
Okay. And then I need to do 1999 and back. So anyways, let's move back up. Here we have the chart. We have the Barry Bonds seasons up here. That he was awesome. We have Mike Trout, who missed most of this season, but was awesome. We have 2005 Barry Bonds, same thing. We have some really bad seasons from Ichiro and Pedroia, but these they had like 6 plate appearances. So the x-axis is number of plate appearances.
Sure.
The y-axis is OPS plus. Bellinger is all by his lonesome. Let me make it bigger. He is all by his lonesome right there.
So that's not great, right?
No, that is bad. There is no season as catastrophic as Cody Bellinger. That's sad. Because at least with these seasons are worse, right? Negative 47.
They're anomalies, right?
Yeah, these are like 20 plate appearances. Like 2009, Dustin Pedroia, that's not the end of the world.
He was already on the end of his career anyway.
Yeah, he played 10 games, negative 35 OPS. That's not moving in a needle. Cody Bellinger had 350 plate appearances.
Hang on, Splash, we got a comment coming in. Bills or Chiefs tomorrow night. We both have Kansas City covering.
Yes.
-3.
Kansas City, -3.
There's a Beatles song called Kansas City.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. And they play it at the end of every Royals game, I think. I don't know. I just came across it when I was listening to their it's one of their weird albums that aren't Abbey Road or the White Album. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, I would think Kansas City take Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns if you can get that. That's the game that scares me. Yeah, I agree. As a bettor, there's some goofy games. That's one that Kansas City just doesn't cover. So you always are stressed out about that, well, is the trend going to continue or is it going to break? And that's what you have to ask yourself. And I do want to throw this out there that unless you're like a professional bettor, don't take it too seriously.
Right.
Just like breathe and don't pour all of your money into it.
It's going to be a good football game. Enjoy the football and hopefully win some money. But don't spend $1,000. All right. Gamble responsibly. If you got a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLING. I think that's the number.
1-800-GAMBLER.net. Something like that.
Yeah.
You need to get a sponsor. I want to go back to this graph. Look at the Barry Bonds. He's
just in a class by himself. It's incredible.
He's the only guy since 2000. He's the only hitter to have an OPS plus above 200. Well, Soto did, but Soto was only in 47 games in the 2020 season. But look at like this. He had 268.
Right.
Like his bad season out of that group was a 231 OPS plus. Like 268, 263, 259. This is just kind of incomprehensible. And then you just look at like this blob, right? This blob on the right. That's just kind of insane. And like Bellinger's just sitting there. There's no one in his stratosphere. The only one like close, Miguel Tejada, was 69 OPS plus, and the difference between a 69 OPS plus and a 45 OPS plus is pretty decent.
Vladimir Guerrero is plus 1,200 to win MVP. Ohtani is the 5,000 favorite for MVP.
Yes. I think Ohtani is kind of essentially like
it's impossible. I mean, I understand that maybe Guerrero outplayed him, but Ohtani did both, and he's such a media storyline. It's impossible that he doesn't get it. Impossible. If there would be riots in the streets of Tokyo and LA respectively.
Yes.
I don't think you can just not give him. I don't think you can't give him the MVP.
So I have a question for you, and then I'll jump back to Jeff A's comment. Yes. When the Cardinals played the Dodgers the other day, what percentage of fans, like if you were a Rams fan, what percentage of Rams fans do you think were rooting for the Cardinals? What percentage do you think were rooting for the Dodgers?
I think all Rams fans that did not join the fandom in 2019 when they moved were rooting for the Cardinals. Because they didn't move, team did. So I think a lot more are Cardinals fans than they are Dodgers fans. I don't think that's like saying, oh, the Jets are going to move to Boston, so now I'm going to be a Red Sox fan over my dead body. My New Yorker accent's coming out in that because I don't like Boston.
Well, see, the thing is, the Rams played in LA before they were in St. Louis, so you have to think there's probably some older fans in the LA area that were Dodgers and Rams fans.
Right. So I think it's all area dependent. If you live in St. Louis, you're rooting for the Cardinals. If you live in LA and you like the Rams, you're rooting for the Dodgers.
True. I guess who knows? I'm guessing Robbie Ray is the Cy Young favorite.
I will check.
I honestly feel like Cole is probably the favorite, but I think Ray should win.
Yeah, no, I don't think Cole should win. See, as of late August, that doesn't help.
Cole. No, it doesn't.
No.
Cole really struggled down the stretch.
As of October 3rd, 2021, Robbie Ray, 513 favorite, Garrett Cole plus 390.
Okay. I'm down with that. Jets and Yankees all day. See, I have this fascination with people that are all geographically centered, right?
That's me.
It's so my teams are in 4 different states, and then I go to school in a 5th different state, and my college football team's in a 6th, and my college basketball team's in a 7th. This is, to me, it's just watching sports in the modern era that 6-year-old me didn't necessarily think of Baltimore as like a city. I thought of it as the Baltimore Ravens are a football team, and I'm going to like the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going to like the Atlanta Braves, and I'm going to like the Cleveland Cavaliers.
My thought process is I like my teams first, and then when my teams don't do well, I fall back to the teams I like, I think are cool. So, for example, in recent years, the Atlanta Falcons in 2016.
I couldn't believe you said the Chiefs that one day in the group chat. I was going to strangle you.
The Kansas City Chiefs. I got family in Kansas, so I get to play bandwagon because I'm also a Royals fan. So I get to win some, lose some.
Okay. Only thing Cole should win is the that's like Expos fans becoming Jays fans. See, this is one thing that as a Ravens fan, I wondered, did Browns fans just become Ravens fans? Although I do think that was a unique circumstance of the Browns. I think were promised they were going to have a team again, so they could just just not be a fan of any team for 3 years. But how did Ravens fan? How did sports fandom come to be? Like when a team starts, like Seattle Kraken.
Right.
Who's going to their games? Who are their fans right now?
Right now, Twitter.
Okay, good point. Is it just people in Seattle that haven't had a hockey team to follow that are just going to start with Seattle, or is it? I don't know. I
think it's a matter of convenience almost. I can't exactly just drive over casually to Kansas City and watch a Chiefs game, I can. But I'm 45 minutes away from MetLife Stadium, so it's
That's
convenient.
true.
Like the
But
more
with
you
TV
can go,
now,
oh,
and
yeah,
streaming,
but
it's like I can right now.
true.
It's very easy that you can, like, I can watch the Braves on my phone or listen to the Braves on my phone because I don't have TBS. Like, there are ways for me to watch other, like, nowadays. I think it's almost significant. Like, I have had to deal with, oh, you're a bandwagon my entire life because my teams are from 4 different states, right?
Right.
So, yeah,
Crackheads,
I love the.
let's go.
I love the crackheads.
Crackheads is excellent.
Leafs fans, that's rough. So Expos fans becoming Jays fans. What happened to, like,
did they
to
Washington,
become?
right?
Yes. Did they, like, become Nats fans, or did they just become Jays fans?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, when you don't have a team in your area, that's a whole new ballgame. Like,
like,
for example, if you live
in the Thrashers,
Wyoming, you're supporting the Cowboys and the list, and I mean the Wyoming Cowboys, not the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, in Laramie.
Right. So who are you? You get pick of the litter. Like, if you have a sports team in your area,
actually, that one's weird. You're probably a Denver sports fan.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. Because the thing with this, I did a project on this when I was in 9th grade AP Human. That Denver has an inordinate amount of geographical space to cover, like on the map, right?
Sure.
Teams have their own little areas, and it's different for every sport, but teams have their own geographical areas. Denver has the largest, and it's not even like a big city. Well, it is a big city, but it's not like New York or LA. So they have just a huge geographical chunk of the country that are generally Broncos fans, because there's no other team around them. Like, if you draw a line Denver all the way up, there's nothing. There's nothing in the way of NFL territory. You might run into some Seahawks fans, you might run into some Vikings fans, but it's going to be a lot of Denver fans. And this is the same way why the Braves have such a huge fan base, because
because there's no sports teams in South Carolina. Yeah,
for decades there was nothing in Carolina, like the Carolina area. There were no Panthers, no Hurricanes. There was no Florida is Braves territory for a long time. Georgia's obviously Braves territory. The Carolinas are Braves territory, even up to Washington, like even up to Virginia, that you're running into a lot of Braves fans. And there are plenty of people that were, like, at that point you're like mashing up Orioles fans and Braves fans. And now that territory is Nationals fans. But for 40 years it was Braves fans. And then you think going west, and it's Alabama, Mississippi, that's still Braves country. Tennessee, that's Braves country. Kentucky, you get some Reds influence.
Wait, there's no team in Tennessee?
No.
I guess not. Yeah, you're right.
No, so you have, there's like 10 states that the Braves might be the number 1 team in. And when you get to Louisiana, then you're talking about Texas.
Rangers country. Yeah.
To some degree. And there's like a chunk of the country that's like all Braves territory.
Absolutely.
So...
yeah, I think if you live in one of those states, like say you live in South Carolina, and for whatever reason you're blacked out of Braves games, because this happened to me when I was in North Carolina this summer.
Oh man, I wanted to strangle someone. I live in Southern Arizona, right? So I understand Diamondbacks games are blacked out. I get it. Diamondbacks suck. It's cool. It's only an inconvenience when they're playing the Braves. But why are the freaking San Diego Padres blacked out? Why are the Padres blocked out, but not the Dodgers, not the Angels? What is it? I couldn't believe that one. I get the Diamondbacks one, but I wanted to pop on a Padres game. I was able to catch when Joe Musgrove threw his no-hitter back on April 9th. I caught that, but after that, I just couldn't get another Padre game.
Really? That's crazy.
That was just strange.
Yeah, so
shout out to Jeff A's teams, Pistons, the Canes, and the Wildcats. Fun.
Good smatter.
Tampa has no fans. See, okay, the thing with Tampa.
They played who thought that St. Petersburg was a good idea?
That is, that was just a bad
40 minutes away from Tampa.
As someone who has family, or we have not a hotel, like an apartment in St. Pete. It is super inconvenient. Like, I don't think I've ever been in like Tampa Bay proper or Tampa proper. I've been
like
in
the Jets playing in New Jersey.
Yeah, the Giants playing in New Jersey.
Shoot, they do actually. Never mind. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I agree.
My point is invalid because we still have No, it's great because there's nothing there. It's right off the highway, and you have easy access off Manhattan Island. You have the Lincoln Tunnel, you have the Holland Tunnel, you have Route 3, you have I-95, you have the Garden State Parkway. So you can get out of New York without much hassle. And you have public transportation. You have that's the 4 trains to Yankee Stadium. You have the NJ Path, you have NJ Transit, you have the Secaucus Junction. You can get to the game. It's easy. It's close enough to the city that you can get there. But you don't have to cross bridges. You don't have to take 40 minutes to get to New York, to New Jersey. No, you're 15 minutes from the city tops.
So I want your opinion on trains because I've lived in Georgia most of my life, and I've lived
much like Joe Biden. I'm in favor of trains.
So yeah, most of my life has been like decentralized, right?
Sure.
So like it's a 45-minute commute to Atlanta, or but like the Northeast, I think is geographically packed enough that you can get away with having trains.
Yeah, I mean, I can't drive yet. I get my license in October's 10th. I get my license in 3 months. So but I still won't be able to drive out of state. So when I take when I want to go to the city, it's a bitch to drive in the city. You have New York drivers. That's to say enough.
Yeah.
And parking's so expensive. So if I want to go to the city, I take the New Jersey Transit, which is slow as all get out, but it works. And I'm in the city within an hour, and I'm right at Madison Square Garden.
Okay, that's interesting.
Right in Midtown, right in the Garment District. I can do whatever I want. I can get on, and I have connections to the subway. I can get on the A train, go all the way up to Central Park. Like, it's the broadband infrastructure of transportation within New York City, and that's outside compartments. It's really well done. So, if I'm going like to Boston or something, I'm taking the train. I'm not taking the train. Sorry, I'm just driving because at that point, it's easier to just drive than worry about your Amtrak, and you have more freedom because you're in a foreign city. Everything in Jersey is walking distance. But what if you want to go to Amherst one day, or Cambridge next? Just get out of Boston. You don't have the freedom to do so on the train. So that's on vacation. I prefer to travel by car, or if I travel by plane, get a rental car.
Right.
I don't really consider trains.
Okay, that's interesting because I've only been on a couple trains. Like when I was on like Australia and the UK, we would go on like mass transit. And when I've been in DC, when I was younger, we went on a train from Atlanta to DC, maybe back, I don't remember, but Atlanta to DC for sure. And then when I went to DC my senior year of high school for History Bowl, we took a train from Philadelphia to DC. We were all dressed up. Shout out to Anna, which was very annoying to be dressed up on a 6 a.m. train ride.
Right.
But we went to the White House that day, so we had to be dressed up. So what that's worth. So I do like trains. I do like the idea of living in a centralized city. So that's exciting. And we've kind of totally gone off the rails here. LA is a weird place to be a sports fan. You have all these Lakers, Clippers, Angels, Dodgers. Yeah, I would imagine that New York's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, we're split. We got a schism between Jets and Giants. If you're a Jets fan, you're a Mets fan. If you're a Giants fan, you're a Yankees fan. I shatter that stereotype. If you're a Jets fan, you're a Devils fan. If you're a Giants fan, you're a Rangers fan. I support the Islanders. And if you're a Jets fan, you're a Nets fan. If you're a Giants fan, you're a Knicks fan. I call that hogwash. Go Bulls.
Yeah, I think most people are just Knicks fans, right?
Yeah, I am. I mean, if I have to root, I pick. I'm still pissed off at the Brooklyn Nets removing from New Jersey, so I'm a Knicks fan.
Fair. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I've never really thought of sports geographically like that because I've lived in Atlanta for a long time, and Atlanta's just had, the 4 teams because the Thrashers were there when I was a kid, and now they've been gone for 10 years, so that sucks. So I probably would be a Thrashers fan if they were still in Atlanta, but oh well. LA is a weird place if you're a sports fan. Although I do think at this point with TV and with media, you can be a sports fan really of any team, and I think we need to kind of that stigma of sports fans only being able to like, oh, you're from LA, then you're an LA sports fan, or you're from Denver, you're a Denver sports fan. I think it's fair to say no, you don't have to be,
right?
Because even like if let's say I'm like a 10-year-old, hey dad, can we get MLB TV? I want to watch more baseball. Well, if I'm living in Southern Arizona, I can't watch the Diamondbacks on MLB TV. I can watch every other team besides the Padres, as I mentioned. So let's say you watch a lot of Dodger games, right, or Giants games, or whatever team. You can watch any team now, and there's even like there's student discounts for these things. There's military. There's all sorts of discounts for this. And they're all like relatively, depending on how much you use them, relatively cheap. Like even like Game Pass, it's like $100, and it's granted we both work in the media, sports media, so we get paid to do this. So it kind of cycles back through, right? So it's not like when I pay, I don't know, $80 for StatHead in a year, that it's not really. It's kind of like using a credit card. I'm going to pay it back with what I make from writing better articles and producing better content. So I think we need to. I think we need to break the stigma
break the stigma.
Yeah, like
what we need to break the stigma? It's sports betting, and we gave you some locks. We're H&R Locks. I feel like we should probably wrap this up before it gets more out of hand.
Yes, I'm gonna go enjoy my Philly rolls.
I'm gonna go panic about the Michigan football team.
Are they winning?
They are losing or tied. I don't know.
Oh, I was gonna say they were winning for a long time.
Because
I know Alabama's down like 2 scores.
Down 29-26.
What the heck is going on in college football?
I don't know. I don't like it. I'm gonna go panic.
Okay, Alabama's coming back. They're down 4.
Nah, they're not gonna. They're gonna win.
Michigan's about to tie it with the field goal.
Right.
Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. That game's 30 seconds left. Wow. San Diego State is ranked. Okay. Georgia killed Auburn.
Right.
Iowa came back on Penn State. Oklahoma, that game was on crack. Ohio State blew out Maryland. Boise State beat BYU. Licked my balls. Michigan State rolled over Rutgers. Ole Miss 52-51.
Oh, wow. How about that? That's going to be on University.
Yeah. Wake beat Syracuse in overtime. Florida killed Vandy. SMU is ranked. They beat Navy.
Oh, how about that?
Coastal Carolina curb stomped Arkansas State. Cincinnati did even like worse and like decimated Temple. And Arizona State rolled over Stanford. So great.
All right.
There's that little college football talk. So
let's go panic about Michigan football, baby.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram @UStadium. Ring the ding that Le'Veon Bell, because I want you to ring it more than the freaking Ravens do.
Yeah, don't use the Ravens. The Ravens don't use Le'Veon Bell.
Stress me out.
I'm going back in my British accent because they're just playing in London in 10 hours. I'm doing it. I'm committed to it. I'm gonna talk like this until 9:30 in the morning tomorrow. Gonna do it.
Okay.
It's gonna happen.
With that said, thank you guys for watching, and
I'll send all my messages to you in voice messages just to.
Okay. We'll see you guys next.